In one line, the ASUS Keris is a top spec mouse that's lightweight and has a shape very similar to the Zowie EC2. So let's do a quick shape tour. As you can see, side by side with an EC2, there isn't much difference to the overall shape. However, the Keris buttons feel a bit flatter next to the wheel. Not to the point of the Stormbreaker, so it's somewhere in between. It's a popular shape and for good reason. Very nice curves on the sides to assist with grip. And if you struggle with symmetrical mice because of comfort, I've seen a lot of players switch to these and swear by them. So worth a look. The shape is very common though, so nothing too interesting to get into. It's just a good asymmetrical shape. So let's talk about specs. Because the weight is only about 53 or 54 grams, much lighter than the EC2, and very close to the magnesium Stormbreaker, it's actually really impressive. I wasn't expecting ASUS to get it so low. The dimensions are about the same, so about 5.8cm grip width, 12.1cm length, and 4.1cm height. The button height is a bit lower at 1.8cm and 2.1cm, so that's a selling point for this over the other clones. Not a huge deal, but I think it could help aim a bit. As I've discussed before, lower button height seems to be better. Same recommendations for hand sizes as the EC2, so I'd say palm under 18cm, or fingertip and claw grip between 18 and 20. But if you can handle this small, then I'd say give it a try even with larger hands than what's recommended. Here it is next to some other mice for an idea of the size. As for in-game, I've played a fair bit with this one, and it was all good. If you're new to gaming mouse reviews, it's actually very hard to find a problem with performance these days. Sensors are great, click latency is really low, about 1 millisecond for this one, and the top mice are consistent and do everything well. Even this being wireless, it's still capable of extremely low latency. That's just using the bump test compared to the Death Adder V3, which is one of the best for low latency. Here's a sound test for the buttons to get an idea of what they're like. So the buttons are probably the reason I would want this instead of the EC2. They're not too loud, have a decent click, and most importantly, the wheel is actually nice. Very quiet. The side buttons feel and sound better too. Build quality seems pretty good despite the low weight, but my copy has a slight rattle coming from around the sensor area, but it's only very slight. For materials, it's a textured plastic for the shell. I didn't have any slips, so it seems pretty good. They've added extra texture to the sides. Feels fine, might help grip a bit. Can't say I really noticed or thought about it, but cool that they're trying new things. And they're facing the right way too. If they were facing the other way, you might have felt it slip a bit, but these are good. And they include some grips if you want to cover them. Looking at the base, pretty standard feet, they give you a larger set if you want to use those. And you can use this with Bluetooth or wireless with the Switch, not Nintendo, on the base of the mouse. For the cable, it's a medium braid, but it's a wireless mouse so that's not a big deal. They also include the high polling rate dongle, not that I'm a fan of those, but I'll talk about that in a separate video. I leave my mice at 1000 Hz, which helps the battery life up to 107 hours without lighting, but as always don't forget to charge it. The software is ASUS Armoury Crate, but I don't want to install it on my computers as they're all ASUS motherboards, and it takes over the lighting controls, and uses a heap of CPU just to control the lighting. I don't know if it still does that, but someone else is going to have to assure me it's okay these days, because it was using up to 6% of my CPU back in the day. It was annoying to uninstall. That said, I was able to use the mouse without software, so that didn't matter to me. Where does it rank on the top mice list? It's very similar to the Stormbreaker, so quite high. It's another lightweight alternative to the Zowie EC2 wireless. So if that's what you're in the market for, and you can get this at a good price, then I can recommend it. It has all the right specs, but it is a clone, so it'll be competing with the other EC2 shapes. That said, I see this mouse as a huge step in the right direction for ASUS, or ASUS. Did we agree to say it ASUS or ASUS? It's been a while, can't remember. But really hoping we'll see some next level shapes from them. They've shown in the past they're not afraid of taking risks, which is great, but we still need specific principles on the shapes for them to be great for aim potential. Anyway, I look forward to checking out their future mice. Hope that helps. Use your links below if you want to help support what I do. Sub, like and share, and I'll catch you in the next. Oh, and ASUS sent this out, but of course, all thoughts my own, not being biased. And if you want proof of that, just go look up the video on the ASUS Gladius 3. I think it was the third one. Just really bad shape, which is why I'm so happy to see this. Even though it's a clone, at least they're choosing good shapes now, and it's a step in the right direction because once they get even better shapes, they should be up high on the charts all the time. Okay, that's it. Catch up.